is going on, everybody? Welcome back here today for another episode of Secret Agent Stash. We're hanging out here at Secret Agent headquarters, and we have a special guest actually today that's going to be joining us to do another Web3 gaming tier list. Please help me welcome to the channel my friend here, my brand new friend, Nerdy Wan. What's going on, man? Good to meet you, and thanks for being here.
Dude, what's up? What's up? So happy to be here. Very first time getting to know you, Crypto Stash. Excited about it. Love the sunglasses, love the hat. And let's get this started, yeah?
Let's get it going. So for those that don't know, Nerdy Wan, he's a brand new crypto YouTuber talking about gaming. And, we wanted to put a little bit of a spotlight on his channel. So make sure you guys go check out his link below in the description. Hit him up on Twitter as well and give him a follow here. What we're going to do today, just to preface this so everyone knows what's going down, is we are rating the top games in the Web3 gaming space. And Nerdy Wan is he's gonna weigh in on this. This is his rating, his tier list. And so if you guys hate it and you got a bunch of make sure you hit him up on Twitter. Don't come my way.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm just kidding. But the thing is, what we'll say is we there's two things here that you guys need to know. Two things, and Nerdy Wan, you can understand this and know this too. But number one, no projects paid to be here. This is just a fun thing we do. I'm not paying Nerdy Wan to be here. He's not paying me to be here. But no projects paid to be here. And then number two, that we try and pick projects that are mostly playable games. Not every game on here is 100% playable. Some may be in private beta or something like that, or but for the most part, we try to pick games that actually have gameplay and you can play.
Sounds good.
Sounds good. Are you hyped, man? Are you ready to go?
I'm ready. I'm a freaking gamer, right? So I rate all these games on a very, very high bar because I love video games over here. So I cannot wait to get into this. I have very, very strong thoughts on the space and video games in general. So excited, man. Yeah.
And so coming from, a more traditional side of gaming, right? I saw just a little while ago, you're really stoked about God's War that just came out, right?
I'm
playing that?
It. Yeah, I'm playing it right now. Absolutely epitome of storytelling, gaming. So you see, the bar is so high for traditional gaming. So when we talk about crypto gaming, I don't kind of want to, make it too easy for all the games, right? They have a really high bar to actually meet. So for them to be able to compete with the traditional games, there has to be something unique to that. So throughout this whole tier list, if I rank something low, I'm not saying that they can't go up on the tier list. I'm just saying that the bar to actually reach is really, really high for them still. Yeah, and as well, whoever I rank really high, they can always drop if they don't keep up, with the innovation, with actually what they're trying to develop. So just want to know that, if I kind of rank something low that you enjoy, and I'm not saying that it sucks or whatnot, I'm just saying that's what my thoughts are at the current moment. But remember, this is a long-term game here. So I just want to put out my thoughts right here and let you guys know why I think what I'm thinking.
Yeah, that's what we're looking for. And so let's just jump into it and get going, because I want to make sure that we get all these in. We got 20 of the top games here in NFTs and crypto. Mm-hmm. And one thing out there too, I want to hear your guys' ratings too. So if you guys have a rating and you want to pop it in chat, we want to hear what you rank these games as well. And so as we're doing that in chat, I would love to see you guys adding those rankings here. All right, let's go and get started. Let's get started. We're going to load up the tier list here, and you guys get to see which games we have for today that we're going to have Nerdy Wan rank here. Let's go.
All right.
Okay, so here we go, man. And this is our list here, and you can see the list, right? You can see that everything looks good for you?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. All right, just making sure that everything is looking good. You guys can see the list as well. I'll run over the games here real quick so we know exactly what we're working with before we get started. And we'll go in alphabetical order here, but then when we do it, we don't go in. I just jump around, man. I don't like to go in alphabetical order. All right, Axie, Big Time, Blankos, Champions Ascension, Clementine's Nightmare, Earth from Another Sun, Gods Unchained, Heroes of Mavia, Illuvium, Imposters, My Pet Hooligan, Nyan Heroes, Phantom Galaxies, Sandbox, Shrapnel. A lot of people are like, I don't know that logo. It's Shrapnel. Cipher, Spider Tanks, just launched, Superior, Thetan Arena, and Undead Blocks.
Nice.
Have you heard of all these games?
I have. I think that was one.
You
or
lie.
two.
You've not heard all these. At least one game on there you've not heard of.
I'm just a little spoiler. I actually looked up some of the games I haven't played before, so I have some first impressions. But
There you
I'm
go.
very clear it was my first impression of it, and if I haven't played it, I'm going to say it right there. So I want to kind of hear what Crypto Stash has to say. He has a lot more experience with all these games as well. So
Yeah.
I'm looking to learn as well. I want to absorb everything I can.
Let's do it. Let's do it. All right. So this is how we're ranking it, guys. You guys know us. You know how we roll here. You know how this goes. S tier is the best, like always. And then for us, the worst tier, wrecked, completely wrecked. If the project is just complete shit, then it goes in the wrecked tier. And it's crazy to see how people play it. So we're gonna see how Nerdy Wan plays this today, and we're gonna get started with the first on the list here and go big. We're gonna go big or go home and just start off with Axie Infinity, man. Tell us about Axie Infinity. What you think about it real quick intro, and then tell us what your rank is.
Okay, first up, Axie Infinity. So really, we have to give props to it, of course. It was the whole gaming project that restarted this craze, actually put attention to the space. It was how I heard about it first, Axie Infinity going absolutely crazy. But from a gaming point of view, it is very bland. I'm so sorry, right? There's not much happening in it. Of course, I mean the whole like Pokemon thing. One thing I have to note that I do like the art style. I think that is very colorful, very friendly, easy to look at. But the whole point of really just pointing and clicking, I mean, Pokemon does it a lot better over here. And I don't see the average gamer actually being excited enough to sustain and play this for the long term. All these types of games right now, I'm thinking, how long is the average gamer willing to play it? Because I get bored of games very, very quickly. So I have to say Axie Infinity has to go on the D tier.
Go in D. All right.
Tier, yes.
I feel you. I personally, I put Axie Infinity in the wrecked tier. I know that people are like, what, wrecked? Well, hey, that's just how I feel about it, man. I mean, some projects just have to be wrecked, in my opinion, and Axie is definitely at the top of that list there.
We have to be honest. We have to be honest.
Yeah. I have to be honest. And I will tell you right now, I put out an Axie video a couple of weeks ago, and it got a lot of blowback, a lot of flack, because I actually did get a piece of information in the video wrong. And I was like, oh my gosh, I got it wrong. I was like, hey, that's my bad. I admitted it. I apologize to the community. But the funny thing is, I took the thing down, and there was a lot, I got a lot of shit from the Axie community for this. But the funny thing about it is that a lot of the information in that video was also incredibly correct too. And it wasn't the best it wasn't the best, look, I think, for Axie in general. So, but with that one thing being wrong, had to take the whole thing down. But in general, you're right. I agree with you on a lot of the things that you said. There is still a little bit of respect there for the fact that they blazed a little bit of a trail, but definitely doesn't deserve to be much higher.
Innovate. Yeah, you have to continue to innovate. They did great, but the space is moving forward, and you really have to kind of keep up with how things are. So I'm not saying that they can't really improve from here, but I'm just saying this is where they're at right now.
Yeah,
based off my current experience with gaming and what I think gamers really want.
Exactly. All right, cool. Let's go on to the next one. Undead Blocks. What do you think about Undead Blocks?
All right, so this is interesting because immediately you're gonna have to compare it with Call of Duty Zombies, of course, which is extremely, extremely fun. However, it is basically Call of Duty Zombies, but not as good yet, right? So because the whole concept, I don't see anything new because we're not talking about blockchain right now. It's just the game itself. That's how I'm looking at all this stuff. So I can see it being fun, in the meantime, but it might get really repetitive if we play it for a long period of time. Sure. So I'm gonna put it at the C tier because I'll play it, but I probably wouldn't play it for a long period of time.
Yeah,
so that's my thoughts.
I agree. I agree. I think C or maybe B tier. Once they get some upgrades, they're going for multiplayer and some other cool things that will kind of increase the playability. But I think they have a solid game loop right now. But you're right, fairly basic.
Yeah, I'm watching it. I have hopes for it.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. All right, what do you think about Big Time?
Oh, Big Time. Okay, this one I personally played it. I tried it out. I was an early tester of the project, and my experience with it was that it got repetitive very, very quickly. It was fun at first, but there wasn't a lot that kept me going back to it. And here's the struggle that I have with all these big projects because they're building this giant MMORPG, right? And they have to constantly add content to it. But the gamers, they play through content very, very quickly. So at a certain point, it gets very boring for the gamers to do the same thing again and again and again. So I really have to say, because of the whole concept, I'll put it at the C tier right now. And this
Okay.
was a project that I was super excited about. And when I played with
Yeah.
it, when I started, it was super exciting. But after like, I don't know, just an hour or two, I felt like I was doing the same thing over and over again. So they have a lot of potential if they add a lot more content. But for right now, C tier, just because it's not as exciting. Like I don't feel I want to go back to big time to play right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And funny enough, man, I agree with you. I might put it a little bit higher. I would probably put this in a solid B category, but I agree with you. There's not a lot of content. It gets repetitive very quickly. I love the look of the game and the gameplay. Feel of it is good. They just need more. They just need more content there, man, and stuff too for like solo players. Because I know it focuses a lot on cooperative play, which is great. But definitely agree with you. Not a lot of content there to really sink your teeth into. But cool, a lot of potential.
A lot of potential. Yep,
Yeah.
definitely.
All right, moving right along. Thetan Arena, and make sure you guys. I see Eric putting his stuff in there. Make sure you guys put in your ratings and what you guys think about it. Thetan Arena. What do you think about Thetan Arena?
Okay, I haven't played Thetan Arena, but I've played similar games like Brawl Stars. I think that was a mobile game that I played. So this one here is a solid B tier for me. I just think the gameplay loop is really fun, and people will continuously play with it because there's this whole competitive advantage, right? Every game's a little different based off your team compositions and based off the players that you're playing against. So people will continuously play it over and over again, and I can kind of see this being just fun. And as your skills improves, you get better at it. So there's actually incentive to go back to it. And I love the art style. I'm a person who likes games that are colorful, with a lot of unique characters. That's just kind of my thing. So this one here, solid B tier. I think whatever they're doing is great. They just need to continuously, improve on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will agree with you on the game side of Thetan Arena. I think that the game loop is fun. I think the game itself is fun. I think that they totally blew up their chances at being considered a good crypto game, right? Or the elements of crypto NFTs they put in it. It kind of screwed it for me. As much as the game is fun, like that was an element that took the wind out of my sails playing a little bit in the beginning. So I think that probably people coming in now don't even care. But in the beginning, man, they really botched that launch. So for me, Thetan Arena goes probably in the D or the rec category, because I try and rank everything based upon all the different aspects, right? And everyone has their own way of ranking stuff, which is great. I don't think that we should rank things exactly the same based upon the exact same criteria. But yeah, I think coming from someone who plays traditional games, I think you're right. I think B is a solid rating for the actual gameplay itself. Yeah.
Great. Sorry, just to kind of add before we continue too, in terms of all the games, I would prefer a game to be fun and actually have users in its ecosystem, because then that way there's a chance for it to actually, I guess, be competitive in the future, rather than they get everything right in terms of the back end of stuff, but the game's not fun at all. So now no one's actually going to want to play it. But I might be wrong, of course, but that's just kind of why I'm rating the things I'm rating it. I'm looking at purely from a gameplay perspective, but I do know that tokenomics, how the crypto stuff work in the back end, is very important for the future. But that's just kind of how I filter out the projects that I pay attention to.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. Yeah, I think that it's all about gameplay. It always really has been. But you got to get the other stuff right too. You're right. If you get the other stuff right, but then don't get the game right, I mean that you're screwed from the get go. If that's the case, man, and you can't make a fun game, but you get everything else right, And that's actually been a lot of projects in the Web3 gaming space where they've seen that they can take advantage and get all the other things right, the tokenomics and all these other things and the bullshit in the background, but then they just don't ever produce a fun game. They still get people to buy into it, and then people feel kind of like wrecked because they bought into this game that seemed like it was going to be good, and then the company produced absolutely nothing, which happens. It happens in Web3, but we keep moving on. All right, speaking of moving on, let's go to the next project here. What do you think about Blankos Block Party? I just played this on my stream last night. I've been playing it for a while. What do you think about Blankos?
I like this one. I think it's really brilliant here. I compare it. I'm always going to compare it to traditional games. Fall Guys. I played Fall Guys.
Of course.
Absolutely brilliant here, and it's something that is easy to understand. It's fun. Everyone can kind of join, and it's very casual, right? So this one here is a solid A tier, just because of how much it can just include everyone and bring attention to the game, right? Like, hey, you go introduce this to a friend, like, you have I don't know, half an hour or so, come join me in this like fun, because all you're really doing is getting from point A to point
Yeah.
B, and of course there's obstacles. They can throw in extra mini games. So on top of that too, the community kind of add like different like content to it. So there's just like endless potential. It's not just the developers itself, the community, as they get like more involved in the project, can actually add their own kind of content. So this is really what I think a whole crypto game should really look like. Something simple, easy to understand, but the community can get involved in. So A tier, I love it. And yeah, I'm really excited to see its growth.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think Blankos is a great game. It's a lot of fun. It appeals to a wide range of audience, right? Different demographics and age ranges, which is amazing, and has some pretty good polish, and then they've done also a good job on the blockchain side of things, right? The back end stuff as well. So, once again, they made a fun game. The game is fun to play. Like, I enjoy playing it, and you're right. Like, I think that, once we'll get to a point where these games are not going to be considered crypto games or NFT games. They'll just be games, and it's like, are they fun, and people want to play it, or they don't, and people don't want to play it, So yeah, so like, just like right now, we have this kind of split of genre of like, oh well, these games are they're outside of the traditional gaming thing, so there's something different and new, right? Versus like what you have, with everything else. So there's kind of this divide right now, but I think that divide is quickly going to dissolve, and we'll see these just be considered games.
I agree. Everything's going to mesh together, and fun is going to be what kind of puts you up over top. Because you think of just games in general, a lot of games actually sync. We're not talking blockchain games, just regular games. Only a few of the ones actually are noticed by the masses. Most of the other games are just lost, right?
Yeah.
So that's why
true.
I'm so strict on all these games right here. Your fun have to be at the top there, because that's how you get noticed, and then you can start to innovate. Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, speaking of fun games, what do you think about Superior?
Oh,
I like Superior. I'll say it outright. I like Superior, but what do you think about Superior?
I like Superior. I personally played it as well. A few reasons I like it. I'm going to put Superior at the A tier. Okay, I'm going to tell you guys why. So I love roguelike video games. I absolutely love it, because roguelike simply just means that every time you play the game, you get a whole new different cast of abilities, skills you can combine and whatnot. And if you die, you lose everything, you start again. So this keeps the game fresh, right?
Yeah.
That's the whole gameplay loop. And on top of that, I just love the world that they built. I found a lot of Borderlands, inspiration from it. A lot of like comic elements. They didn't take themselves too seriously. So there was actually some soul into the game. They added their own like feel to it, because a lot of these games were pretty much just a blank slate. You just put a little character, you run around, right? Not, but Superior, there's actually like funny dialogue, the way they interact, the world, how it actually approached. Like the bosses all had their own like specific personalities. So I thought this was very interesting. And adding on top of that, the skills, the weapons, they were really crisp. I know when I was playing it, I was like, this is actually a pretty legit game. It was actually one of the games that I actually had fun playing.
Yeah.
So instantly it went to the A tier, and I highly recommend you guys check out. I think they're like going for alpha or beta release. It just happened recently.
Yeah.
So definitely check it out on the Epic Game Store. Awesome game.
Just did early access release, and you can go get that in Steam, non-NFT version on Steam, or you can go and play it on something like Epic Games or through their website or like Gala, and do it with NFTs there.
Oh, sorry. Speaking of that whole Steam thing, was kind of awesome. I'm surprised they actually even released it on Steam. So that was a big shocker for me. Yeah.
Well, and that's something we talked about on one of our recent Around the Metaverse live stream episodes. If you guys haven't seen those on Mondays, is how do we feel about games that are double releasing, we'll say, right? Saying, okay, we're an NFT game, we want to release on Steam, but Steam won't necessarily let us have NFT functionalities through Steam, so we'll have a separate version that's different than the NFT version. And so, I don't know, it's one of those things that's a little bit weird, but it's still great news, but I do feel like it's a little bit weird having like a standalone or separate version that is different from the NFT enabled version.
Yeah.
If you can combine them together, then I'm cool with that, but having separate versions sucks.
Yeah, I agree. Separate versions. It's still nice to get eyes on like the actual games and gaming. So I'm excited to see where things go, man. A lot's happening, and we're still so early, right? That's what we like to say, early here. So,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, these games are gonna lead us to mainstream adoption. Let's see.
Yep. So, all right, Champions Ascension. This is an arena style fighting game. It's kind of interesting. I played this on the stream on stream about a week ago, last week actually, for the premiere of their their combat, and it was actually pretty good. It puts you in a kind of a arena style combat, and you're in kind of a off to the side third person view, kind of like all like Gears of War for a fighting game. It's kind of interesting. What do you think about Champions Ascension?
So I haven't personally played this game. I just kind of looked it up, and looking at it, I didn't see. I mean, I saw a little demo of the actual fighting, but all the gameplay I actually found was just them running around the tavern. But so I'm not going to rate it based off the tavern stuff, whatever's going on there. I'm looking straight at the fighting parts. So I'm comparing it to Soul's Calibur, just like the fighting Tekken, all the kind of fighting games right now. Okay. So really, I have to say right now, I would put it at the C tier because they're going against some big names, right? Big names like, Tekken, I don't know, Street Fighter, all these different brands right here. So they really have to refine all the, I guess, the moves, the skills and everything. Because there's a lot that goes into the fighting, like, gaming genre. I mean, like, people really get into this like crazy, and this is why it has a little bit of I guess an upside, because people who love fighting games would go crazy about this. So if they're able to really innovate it to the point where they add all the because there's just little things, like little moves can actually change how you win or lose and whatnot, and people love this. So right now, C tier, just because I think they're really, really early. But if they keep on adding stuff and they're refining it to the point, they can be really the top contender for fighting video games. And that's where I kind of see that the advantage, because I haven't seen any fighting crypto game out there yet. And this was really the first one. I'm excited to hear your opinion, though, because I haven't.
Yeah, there's not a lot of good ones. Yeah, there's really not a lot of good ones, actually, man. When it comes to like fighting games, there's really not a lot of good ones that involve crypto. There are some out there. They're just not good. But I think Champions Ascension has a unique angle here, and they have a really high quality team. And what they put out so far, in my opinion, it has been pretty fresh, man. For early access, the whole tavern thing was just kind of like, here's a mini game to play while we're working on the rest of the game. And I'm like, man, the mini, like just the tavern, everything around it, like was pretty solid. So yeah, I'm right there with you. I would probably rank them a little bit higher. But yeah, I think that they're just barely getting to that, core game loop. So I'm really excited to see what Champions Ascension brings to the table here in the next couple of months. Good.
Nice.
All right, Spider Tanks. This is a game from Gala Games that just released, officially released, not early access, but official release. And it's like a MOBA. It's a MOBA style game, traditional MOBA style game where you customize these tanks that are NFTs and you can play and earn. And the earnings have been pretty good, even for free to play players. What do you think about Spider Tanks here, Nerdy Wan?
Yeah, I think they're on the right path, man. Really, really awesome. So I'm going to put them straight ahead in the B tier next to Thetan Arena, just because I think the gameplay is pretty similar and it's actually fun to play. And it needs some skill. You can't just go into it and start winning. I mean, you get wrecked if you don't know how to play. Or, there's healing. You have to make sure that you're moving the right way. You have to damage them. So that's that strategy element. So same thing, competitive. People are willing to come back to play again. So I can see this being something that can actually, I guess, get more users into its ecosystem. And the whole fact that they're so far ahead that they already released the game out there that people can actually start playing, this puts them ahead of a lot of the other games, because this is actually like a whole completed game already. So I almost want to put them at the A tier, but I have to put them in the B tier right now, just because I have yet to see a lot of, I guess, innovation still in the actual like gameplay. I love the strategy. I love how everything's moved. I want to see a little bit more from them in terms of what makes them stand out as this whole mobile game. Is this because it's a very saturated genre? Really. Yeah,
no, you're right. Very saturated genre. Hard to stand out in any genre these days, to be perfectly honest.
Exactly.
But you're right. I love the gameplay. It's a lot of fun and engaging, and I think that they're going to do pretty well. So solid B. Yeah. I would probably put them in the same category, B, maybe A. I wouldn't put, I enjoy Spider Tanks way more than I enjoy Thetan Arena. I don't know why. I mean, I do enjoy Thetan Arena just playing it, but I think I would put Spider Tanks just enjoyability up one notch at least above Thetan. So.
Right, no, awesome game though. Really, props to them. Real props to them.
All right, Clementine's Nightmare. Now, I will say this is one of the games I had never heard of, and this is a game that you put on my radar. This is one you put on my radar. And that's not easy to do. That's not easy to do. So tell us a little bit about Clementine's Nightmare. I checked it out. Very very Burton-esque to me. It feels very Burton-esque. Tell us about Clementine's Nightmare and then give us our rating.
Definitely. So Clementine's Nightmare, disclaimer, huge supporter. So I am completely biased. I just want to put it out there first. But Clementine's Nightmare, so the one problem that I have with them right now is that they're very early in development. I know we talked about games that are ready to play. Right now, they're still working on their alpha gameplay.
Yeah.
So I want to put them on S tier of whatever I'm going to tell you guys, but I'm going to put them on the A tier first, just because they don't have any playable things right now. Now, what I think is very interesting about Clementine's Nightmare is their ability to build their IP and their brand. So if you think about games that are really, really popular in today's culture, they always have a standalone IP. Think of Pac-Man, Donkey Kong, Crash Bandicoot, like Mario, all these people. There's a whole unique cast of characters that make them memorable. That's why they stand the test of time, right? Until today, there's still Mario games coming out. Like still Donkey Kong's appearing in our face, and it's like
still hot, man, still hot,
exactly.
Still doing it.
And so Clementine's Nightmare, what they're really focused on is that they're building a whole bunch of characters, and they're really working on creating a story behind all this. Because a lot of these games, they're focused on the gameplay, right? But Clementine's Nightmare is really focused on building up the brand and the IP of all these different characters. Check out the website. There's like 40 different characters they're working on. I'm not going to get too much into that, but let's get into the gameplay right now. And here's where I think they stand out a little more, because just like a lot of, different games are very saturated, like you just said, right? There's a lot of RPG games, there's a lot of shooter games, but Clementine's Nightmare is combining two different genres of games that I haven't seen any like game really do yet. They're combining trading card games, so like, CCG games, and they're combining the auto battler games, battle like Dota, chess, all this kind of stuff. So because of this whole element, right, these two different genres of games have huge strategic elements to them. And these strategic elements can actually cause like people to create many different types of build. So I can see this being something that people will get very obsessed over, which ties into the whole crypto NFT stuff. Because based off whatever different types of abilities, skills that you have, everyone's experience with the game is going to be different. And moving forward with that as well, because of all the brand, all the heroes that they're actually building towards growing out their brand, I can see that people getting interested with the game, not simply because of the game, but maybe animations, merchandise, stuff like that.
Yeah, sure. Of course, extra stuff that they can draw.
Because of all the extra stuff they're doing to actually build out their brand, this is why I'm rating them very high. So I'm not putting them too high right now at the S tier just because they're so early.
I mean, A's pretty high, man. For like, A's pretty high, so it means you have a lot of confidence in them. I like the look of it. And then, but funny you say that you haven't seen this genre mashup before. Have you heard of Splinterlands?
I have actually. So I have,
because it kind of does the same thing. I mean, it's taking the auto battler and the card game element and the CCG or TCG and mashes them together.
But for the card battlers, though, I didn't see for Splinterlands. There wasn't really the animations, right? Did they have the heroes? Or am I mistaken?
No, it's different. It's all card based, so it's not like what Clementine's Nightmare, where you have actual animations of people fighting, right?
Correct. And that's what I think is going to bring the extra mainstream. Because, gamers are very visual creatures, right? We like to see things happen. We like to see the abilities, the skills, all the shiny things happening right there. So I think that's what attracts people. But then you have the whole card elements, which is the strategy element. So I think this is very interesting. Of course, like I said, I'm biased. I just did an interview actually with the two founders that I plan to release sometime next week. So I really like what they're building. And this is purely because me as a gamer, I get very bored, right? The gaming industry is so saturated. So when something new comes out, I just latch onto it, and I'm so excited to see what they do. Of course, I'm not saying that the game is going to come out, that it's going to be amazing just yet. We have yet to see. But I love the direction that they're going, because they're willing to do something that is different, something that no one has tried doing yet. And this is why I'm excited. This is what I think will bring like more innovation to the crypto industry. When something comes out that is different, that people can say this now stands out. So that's why I'm so excited about it. Yeah. And,
all right. Well, hey, you hyped us here, Nerdy One. And so if it sucks, I'm coming back to you, man. I'm gonna say it's your fault. I'm coming back to you. I'm like, you did this.
I accept that. I've been covering with them for a while now, so I'm still waiting. Still, they've been going through a really, really tough time, but they're slowly building in the background. So we'll see. We'll see.
Okay.
But this is kind of my stake on what I think a crypto game will actually look like to be really, really fun. So we'll see. Yeah.
All right. So moving on here, let's talk about Cipher. Tell us what you think about Cipher, a little bit about the game, just real quick, and then what your ranking is.
Cipher,
Another one
I
that's
have
not like fully out there yet. Yeah.
Correct, exactly. So it's not fully out there again, but just seeing the demo itself, I can
Mm.
see it being pretty fun. I'm relating it to more of the top-down shooters. I mean, I played
Mm.
some of these games, like I guess Hades is one of them. So I can see it being really fun in terms of actually the strategy and the art style. I like the art style. This is what attracts me to it, right? I like the
Mm.
whole comic elements, the really colorful, I guess, environments, and I like the gameplay itself. So I'm gonna put it right now at the C tier, just because I haven't seen as much come out yet. But I like the direction of the video game going out. But I have to be honest with you guys, I don't know as much what's really going on with this project. So I'm interested to hear what you have to say about the project, actually.
Yeah. I haven't seen a lot from Cipher recently either. And so I'm not as up to date on what they're doing currently either. I haven't been following the project as much, so I wish I had more to say on that one. But every once in a while, there's a project on here. I'm like, oh, I haven't followed that one as closely as I should have. But yeah, same thing with you. Like the art style is the only thing that really ever attracted me. And like the game style, like meh. I do like the art though. The art is one thing is the most attractive, I would say, about Cipher for sure too.
Correct. Yeah. So same thing. I mean, they have a pretty nice IP to actually build upon, but I have yet to see. Like, I need to try the game to know whether it's going to be good or whether I will like it. So until then, I C tier for now.
Yeah, I mean that's sometimes it's just how it goes, man. That's why I'm saying we can't. It's hard to rate a game that isn't been playable. And that's why I try to say like every game on here, almost every game on here is a playable game in some sort of form. Like they have a demo, you can actually go and play it. People have played it. Have you checked out or played Earth from Another Sun?
I've checked out the game itself. I haven't personally played it myself, but I've seen some gameplay.
Yeah.
Earth from Another Sun. I'm trying to think here. Where should I rate it?
Where do we rate this bad boy?
Because just based off my experience watching it, I didn't see a lot of. I know they have like plenty of like ideas what they're trying to do with the game and whatnot, but just based on what I'm seeing, it just seems like a very basic shooter to me right now. So I'm gonna put it on the C tier because of the potential.
Okay.
But I don't see it being that fun yet that I want to actually dive into it. You know what I mean? But I might be missing some stuff because I haven't looked into it as much. I know they have a huge roadmap that they plan to do some crazy stuff with, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, and it's one of those games that has been around for a little while in development, and it has like added crypto stuff here recently. So the game itself is actually pretty polished, man. I've gone on and played it, and there's a lot to the game. Like on first look, it seems like, oh, it's a shooter, but it's not really. I mean, it is, but it plays more like a little bit like it has a little bit more RPG elements to it, so like Destiny with some RPG elements maybe. And then I like the like kind of space trotting features too, where not only are you going on and doing these encounters and fighting battles face to face, but you're flying your spaceship around with a fleet, or going and doing pirates. So that's a cool contrast. I think there's some potential there, but I think C or B is a good rating for that. So I agree with you on that one.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Dash is still kicking. Yeah, just returned to Wax P with Farming Tales. Well, Peckham, good to see that you're back, man. I mean, still kicking. Yeah, I've been here. I don't know where you've been. We've been here. But good to see that you're back at Wax. All right, so next on the list here is Shrapnel. Shrapnel. What do you think about Shrapnel?
Shrapnel. Okay.
Another game that's not out yet, that we've seen footage, but not out yet, not playable.
So there's high hopes for this game.
Yeah.
I have to compare it to Call of Duty, obviously. Okay. But my thing with Shrapnel is that it's a first-person shooter, right? And there are tons of first-person shooters out there. And I know they're an extraction-like first-person shooter, so I'm thinking Warzone or something like that, or like a different version of it. So I just think that there's nothing new to this whole genre yet, but just based off what they're going to implement in terms of the blockchain tech, maybe extra stuff. But from a game though, I just kind of have to put it at the C tier, just because there's nothing really new. I mean, like it's going to be, maybe they can make a really, really polished first-person shooter, but is it going to be as good as the traditional first-person shooters that people have been polishing for years, so that it can actually attract gamers? So that's what I immediately think, whether I want to play it. And when I see Shrapnel, I see a first-person shooter or another first-person shooter. I really, really hope they do something amazing. But for right now, I just don't see anything new that wants me to actually try out the video game. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like the story element that they're really weaving there. I think they're doing a really good job of weaving in the story, and I think there'll be like more, less like Warzone style feeling shooter than you may realize. But we don't know. We're at a point where we don't know much. We just have a little bit of a backstory, which I like the story. I like the look of things. But yeah, I think B or C probably at this point makes sense. I think once we get some gameplay, I mean, it could easily be an S tier game, in my opinion. Regardless of what will it compete with Call of Duty? I mean, that's a hard, like, does anything compete with Call? Like from even AAA game studios that put out shooter games, are they going to compete with a legendary? Like, probably not. So I mean that is a pretty high bar there to set for this game. But it's fine. I get it. I totally get it. So all right, for C tier for Shrapnel, I get that. Yeah. All right, moving on. What about, so we talked a little bit about card games earlier. What do you think about Gods Unchained? This is one of the OG crypto games.
Yeah, I tried this game out. Like, this was one of the first crypto games I tried out. And I got into it a little bit. I was playing it. It was like similar to Hearthstone. That's kind of the vibe I was getting from it. So I think OG community, and what I like about crypto games that use card elements is that there's always a community that loves these types of games. There's a lot of strategy that goes into it. You can build different decks and whatnot. But again, it's a card game, and there's a lot of card games over there. I'm just really harsh on how I rate games, so I'm going to put it at the C tier right now, just because, again, not as much innovation. It is a fun game, but whenever we're making a new type of game, I'm always looking what makes you stand out, what makes you different, and what makes you want to come back to it to pull on more audiences right now. So I know that it's a fun game right now, but it is, in my opinion, right now, another card game. Not saying it's not fun, but there's nothing new that makes me like, oh, I want to try this game over this other card game. I know this is pretty harsh and whatnot, but just being a gamer that played so many different games, and I'm harsh on traditional video games. I get bored so quickly. So that's just kind of why I'm rating it at a C tier.
Yeah, I disagree with you on that one. I definitely put Gods Unchained in like a B or A tier, minimum. And the reason for that is when you say there's nothing new here, I think that a TCG that incorporates blockchain technology and allows you to trade your cards and do some of the things that we can do, but actually that does put it in the like innovative category. Whereas like some like when we talk about all these other games that are incorporating NFTs or blockchain tech in some sort of level, I think it makes one of the biggest impacts in the TCG category of gaming. And so I do think that actually does put it in the level of like, this is a little bit more innovative and doing something that these other TCGs aren't doing, that if I was a TCG player, this might be a factor, one of the main factors that would bring me over from playing Hearthstone or Runeterra or MTG Arena or something like that, right? To play something like this. But yeah, I mean, if you're not a card game player, I definitely don't, I could see this not being something that would be super interesting.
Yeah, no, I actually do agree with you though. I think the blockchain elements really tie well with card games. I think that's one of the best usage of it. So yeah, I definitely agree with your point of view there. And actually just going back to it, that's why I think Clementine's Nightmare is interesting, because they're including card-like elements with a whole new perspective. I'm not sure if it's going to be good, but I appreciate them trying something new, to bring something new to the table from the gaming elements, minus the blockchain. So yeah, no, I think Gods Unchained is actually a great game, and I'm really interested to see how the blockchain elements actually grow to actually bring on more users to like this whole ecosystem.
Okay, so now with that statement there, we got to make an amendment, guys. Before, at the beginning of the stream, I told you guys the two things. A, we try to pick games that were as playable as possible. Not every game is playable, but that's one of the rules. The number two is no project paid to be here. But apparently, Clementine's Nightmare has paid Nerdy Wan to be here and plug the shit out of their game.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm just kidding. I just
have to be really passionate about what I like,
No, that's good, man. That's good to have that. I'm fine with that. Some people think that.
I'm going to push it because I don't know. I just think that video games itself, it's so subjective, right? Video games, everyone's different. And my personal like of games, I like fantasy. I like, really, really colorful things, I like roguelike video games. So you can kind of see, like, based off my tier list, all the games that is mostly on the C tier are like more first-person shooters. I'm not
Right.
saying, but someone who likes first-person shooters might rate it a lot higher.
Sure,
You know,
sure,
so,
yeah. Of
so
course,
this is
yeah.
kind of like what represents my like on video games, and that's why like the
course.
tier list is looking how it is.
Yeah. No, I know. Yeah, for sure. I was just poking a little fun there because I was like,
I
oh, but hey, but have you guys heard of Clementine's Nightmare?
Pay me.
All right. So moving on here, let's talk about the Sandbox. So Sandbox is a little bit different than these other games out here. It's more of a platform. But what do you think about the Sandbox?
Oh, okay.
And where would you rate it?
I have some thoughts about it. So Sandbox, I actually don't even want to rate it as a game. You know, I think it's more like a giant lobby that people wait in to play games. If that makes any sense right now. But based on all the brand partnerships and right now, it's just such a huge thing. It's so difficult to actually rate it. But I see the Sandbox as it has to go in the C tier for me too. So the Sandbox right now. I know there's some really interesting things happening to it, and obviously we have to compare it to Minecraft. I'm always going to do this where I compare it with a traditional video game. So Minecraft, I think that the whole idea that the community can create their own experiences is amazing, is a huge part of gaming culture. I mean, the modding community in gaming is absolutely huge, right?
Yeah.
And so the Sandbox giving you that whole element that you can actually add your own experiences is really, really interesting right now. It's just that I haven't really, just my personal experience looking at it, it didn't seem that fun, a lot of the stuff just yet. You know, but I know that it's insane potential because I mean, it's a freaking sandbox. If someone comes in and creates this amazing experience, this is going to catapult it straight to the S tier because now that's a really fun experience. But I haven't seen something that is as fun yet. So I'm keeping a close eye on what the sandbox is doing. What
crazy. Okay, yeah. C tier. I definitely would disagree with you there, man. Out of all these games and platforms, you know, talking about, I mean, it's going to be A or S tier for me on Sandbox, man. And let me tell you a couple of the reasons why I feel that way. You know, when you say like, okay, well, you know, there's nothing fun going on in the Sandbox, I think that a lot of people have that same mentality. You're not alone. I think that there's so much going on in the Sandbox and there's so much there that it's hard to like put your finger on one thing and say, this is the fun thing. And that's kind of the problem that I have with Roblox too, because I think to me, it works more like Roblox than it does like a Minecraft. Roblox is that place where you go and it's kind of the same thing. You have like a lobby essentially, and then it's all these connected games. And what connects them is that they're all built using the same kind of platform. And people are going there hanging out. So with Roblox being one of the most popular platforms in the world, I do see that there's an opportunity for Sandbox to be able to, you know, kick it up another level, because I think the tools that they're offering and the you know, playability that they can bring is going to be higher than what Roblox is doing personally right now. But I do think that there actually are a lot of really cool, innovative experiences in the Sandbox. They just don't get promoted as much because it's a whole massive thing. Like you said, it's like this big lobby, and things kind of get lost in there, you know. And so I've tried to stream some of the more fun Sandbox experiences, but yeah.
No, I think whatever, and they've been like building for so long. There's so many experiences right there. I'm just waiting to actually. I haven't like explored it as much yet. That's why I'm really like looking towards like people who really dive into the whole ecosystem to see what's really going on over here. So I know
it's a lot,
insane potential. I'm just like waiting for something to pull me, or maybe I have to kind of take my, you know, kind of wet my feet and dive into it a little bit. But I know I'm excited to see what you have in the game.
Yeah, I mean, check it out for season 4, because season 3 just ended, so there's no experiences that are really like the main experiences aren't playable anymore. They you know, so it's technically not released to the public really, but they have these seasons that they're doing that are kind of like, you know, alpha tests, and the next one is coming up I think the beginning of next year, alpha season 4. I actually have a game that's going to be an alpha season 4 on the Sandbox.
No way.
And so hopefully that will be the first fun game that you play on the Sandbox, and we'll get you playing that one once it's up and running, man.
Yeah, let me play with you, man. All right.
It's a secret agent game. It's a single player experience. It's not multiplayer. It's a single player experience, but you get to be a secret agent, and you get to go on a mission with secret agent stash in this game. So it should be a lot of fun.
All right,
I mean, an actual fun game on Sandbox.
I want to have fun, so I'm always looking for fun experiences right there. So throw them at me. Yeah. Okay,
let's move on here. So this is one that we have not had on here before, and one that I'm not very familiar with at all, actually, and it's Heroes of Mavia. So tell us a little bit about this, and then what your rating is for Heroes here.
So Heroes of Mavia is essentially a base builder video game. So think of Clash of Clans, right? That's basically what it is, Clash of Clans. But here's where I think, same like the card games, blockchain mechanics add a lot to the value of this video game. Because if you think of Clash of Clans, people played for years and years and years, and they build up these giant bases and they kind of give it away. But now add asset ownership, add blockchain mechanics to this. So Heroes of Mavia essentially are building this type of video game, but right now you actually get to own your base and do whatever you want to do in the game. So Heroes of Mavia, just based off their trailers, their art, their animation, what they're doing, still no gameplay, I have to say. So right now, B tier, just because I personally like the art, I like the colorful nature of stuff, and I think it ties very well with the blockchain elements of stuff. And it's something that I know it's proven that people like. I mean, mobile games, especially the base builder video games, are something that people love playing. They're obsessed over it. I mean, and in fact, they probably make the most money as well, these kind of mobile video games. So that's why I'm rating it at the B tier, because I know people like it. I played a little bit of it. I'm not too crazy about this genre of video game specifically, but I know that this is a game that really ties well with the blockchain elements, and that it's just a straight up fun game that people will constantly come into it. And there's a lot of strategic elements, and you get to play with other people. It's competitive, it's PvP, you get to customize your own base. It's just a fun thing. And you get to actually see what you own in game, that base constantly growing week by week, month by month, year by year. And this is something that I think is going to stick around for a while.
Heroes of Mavia above Sandbox, Gods Unchained, big time. Undead Blocks. That's crazy, man. That's crazy to me. I'm not gonna lie. That is to see that. And like I said, I'm not super familiar, but I know that it's a mobile base builder game. But to put that game above some of these other ones, and not being even available yet, that is a bold move there, sir. Bold move. All right.
I tell you, I have a very
that's the collar popping shit.
I have to speak what I really feel, and my perspective of video games is very, very different, just because of my experiences. Everyone's experience is different and whatnot, and I don't care so much for video games that it's trying to do a lot. I rather video games try to do one thing really well. That's what I'm always looking towards. I don't care about a game that does a lot of different things mediocre-ish, what I mean? And I know that's pretty harsh, but that's what I think video games need, just because the industry is so saturated. There's plenty of games being released, and as we continuously progress, more and more games release. So what is going to make people, the average gamer, want to play your game compared to the millions other games out there?
Yeah, there's so many, dude.
So that's why I really have to be harsh on what I'm picking up. And of course, I might be wrong, but that's just kind of like, I'm just trying to think, like, do I want to play it? If I don't want to play it, it goes lower in the tier. If I want to play it
no worries.
That's just kind of how my thought process goes.
No, and it does, like you said, a lot of this is preference, man. It's like we're not these unbiased beings that are just over here reporting the news.
Yeah, I'm hella biased here, by the way, guys. So
that's what I'm saying. And then there's nothing wrong. I'm biased too. Shit, man. You guys see, like, I have my biases. There's nothing wrong with that. You can trash us for our biases, but that doesn't mean we can't trash you back for your shitty ass picks.
I'm not going to change my thoughts. I'm sorry, unless you show me the actual game, and it's actually
there you go. Stick to the guns, man. I love it.
My tier. Happily. Okay.
All right, so let's finish with the last couple here. What do you think about Phantom Galaxies? Have you played this game?
Yeah, I heard about it. Haven't really played it. I know it's that whole Gundam space. It honestly looks pretty awesome in my opinion. I think it's great. I think it fits a really specific genre of gamers as well. It's between B and C tier for me. Again, same thing, because I personally am not crazy about this type of video game, but it looks extremely polished though. So I'm just going to put it at the C tier because of my preference. But I see this as a game that is pretty fun, that I see people can really enjoy. The whole like space environment and everything. So yeah, but tell me more about it though, because I don't know about Phantom Galaxy as well as probably you.
Yeah, I think it's a really fun game. I like when you come to like fun playable games that are out right now, Phantom Galaxies kind of kicks a lot of these games' asses. I'm not gonna lie, man. There's a lot there. They're doing a good job developing the story. You have the mech play and space play, and then but you're also on these space stations running around as your character, and I think they've done a really great job, and they've done a good job incorporating NFTs in a way that makes sense and is not cash grabby. And so Phantom Galaxies is definitely one of the top. You should play Phantom Galaxies, man.
I definitely should check it out. Yeah, so
It's definitely worth it grabbing an NFT and checking it out right now, because it is fun. If you like this genre, if you don't like this genre of like space, explorer kind of RPG ish, then you may not like Phantom Galaxies. But it is a lot of fun, actually. I think
played
it's
like
great
the
for the
OG Star Wars Battlefront, and I love space battles. That was sick. So I kind of got that vibe from it. That's why I know that it's a fun type of game. I just haven't really gotten to play it, so I think it's unfair for me to rate it without playing it. But it is what it is right now.
Yeah, no worries. All right.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, moving on here. Illuvium. What do you think about Illuvium? They just did a big drop of some new footage here, and we're pretty excited about it. So, what do you think?
Boy over here. So this is an auto battler game, if I'm not mistaken, unless they change anything so far.
Has auto battler elements, yeah.
What makes them stand out is the whole IP and their branding behind stuff. I love how the characters look, how colorful things. So if you see, this is where it gets again, like the colors, the way they build all
variety characters,
yeah. So this makes me very excited to try out the game. As for the gameplay itself, I mean, auto battlers, it's something that some people like, some people don't like.
Yeah,
I'm kind of neutral about the whole genre here. I'm going to put them on the B tier. I wouldn't put A tier just yet, because I really have to get. Because while everything looks really nice, I don't know if the gameplay is going to be something I want to continuously play just yet. That's why I can't put it any higher. It looks amazing, and I really have to start to see like what are they going to add, what are they going to actually give me that I want to come back to the video game.
Okay, that's fair enough. Yeah, like right now it's in. You're right. The only thing you can do is play the auto battler. But they did debut the overworld gameplay and what that looks like of like playing the overworld and then going into a battle, which then initiates the auto battler sequence and you pick your team and shit like that. So, but I saw it. I may rank Illuvium a little bit higher. I would probably put it in A tier. I think they're doing a really good job, and I think they're on a solid path here. So, all right, but let's move on to the next one here. What do you think about Nyan Heroes? This is another one of those ones that is not fully released, but has had some hype around it. What do you think about Nyan Heroes?
Nyan Heroes. All right, so this one here is a battle royale game, and then it's like there's so many battle royales, right? But this is my personal preference, why I like it a little more than other battle royales, because it's more similar to something like an Apex Legends as opposed to a Warzone, because supposedly your characters are going to get different abilities, all this like fantasy like things, and that immediately gets me to like the video game a little bit more. So I'm going to put it here at the B tier. And the reason being is because of how they're building out their world is really, really interesting. For example, all these other games like Warzone, I know a lot of people like it, but it kind of like meshes that whole Warzone list looks like all other shooters, right? But now Nyan Heroes is building this whole world on their own that's going to be unique from someone else. So if they're able to make all the abilities really cool, all the mechs, literally you're going to be playing cats, riding mechs, and that's going to be your characters actually playing in the Battle Royale. Super unique concept. I think it's really, really interesting, but super early in development. They have some demo out, and it looks really, really cool. I just don't know if that's actually going to how it will actually look in the actual game. I mean, 60 other people, if it looks exactly how it did in the demo, and 60 other people are in game playing in this giant like dystopian futuristic world, it's going to be really, really cool. I can see it like being like catapulted up to the top tier. So keeping a close eye about B tier.
Catapulted it to the top, you say?
Yeah, I'm just gonna say it.
We're going to catapult it to the top. So I rewound the pun for you, and you still didn't get it until the third time. All right, that's cool. That's good. Good job. That's good. All right. So Nyan Heroes, I mean, I would agree with you. I think that they do have a kind of unique aspect there. It remains to be seen. I want to play it and sink my teeth into it, get my claws in it, and I'll report back then. But a game, but the graphics are good. And I kind of agree with you. I like the more Apex Legends style versus maybe the Warzone style preference. I probably played more Apex for sure than I played Warzone.
Yeah, I know. It's just like more exciting. It's just like, all the unique abilities, and the characters actually have like a personality. I mean, if you're Warzone character, the person that you're playing in Warzone is just a blank slate. It's just like everyone else. But in Apex Legends, you're an actual character with different personalities, how you interact with other people. And I think that adds a lot. Like, I wouldn't underestimate how much fun it adds to the actual game. itself. Like, what do you mean in Apex? So everyone has their opinion, but in Warzone, no one's going to be like, what do you mean? An engineer, a sniper? No one like asks that kind of question. You know what I mean? So it's just my thoughts about it. That's why I'm excited about this game. Of course, a little biased, but
yeah, it's a good point. It's a good point. It's a good point. All right, last two. I know this is one of your faves. What do you think about Imposters? This is coming from our buddy over Elio Trades. He was talking a lot of shit to me. He said he was like, the Imposter crew, the community, said that I should play Imposters, and I was like, when Elio would jump on and play with me, then I'll do it. And then he tried to tell me that if I lost against him, I would need to shave my mustache.
So
we'll see. So we'll see. So tell us about Imposters and where you rank Imposters and why.
All right, first up, completely biased. I'm a ambassador for Imposters, so I have to put it out there. It means I talk a lot about them. I have plenty of content on Imposters, and I'll tell you why this is the game that I'm most excited about. One of the ones that I have to put them in the S tier right now first.
One S tier, all right. The only S tier so far. We only have one game left, so I'm going to assume that.
So basically all these other games, right, that's listed right now, they are always compared to a specific video game. Instantly, it's just natural. Like gamers like to compare what's better. Sure, so when you think of Imposters, it's a social deduction video game. So what do you compare it with? You compare it with Among Us.
Among Us, of course. Yeah.
Exactly, right? Now, the thing with Among Us, though, is that it's not a game that is really, really innovative, right? It's not like something amazing that's hard to replicate and whatnot. So it isn't easy. I mean, it's not too difficult to build a game that can actually surpass Among Us. Where else, a lot of first-person shooters, it's difficult to build a game that can surpass Call of Duty. If you build an RPG, it's difficult to build a game that can surpass, I don't know, World of Warcraft, things like that, right? But for Imposters, there is a way that it can be better than Among Us. And now we add on to the other elements, like it's really easy to play. You can play with people. And the way that they're actually developing, they're already it's closed beta. Actually, right after this interview, we're going to be playing the closed beta for Imposters. It's going to be super fun. I'm going to play with a bunch.
Yeah. I'm going to be in that closed beta session too, man. I'm going to have to take Elio down a notch and beat him at his own damn game and make him look like a fool.
And if we think of the current gaming, like, I guess, gaming culture, right? How do games really spread? They spread to Twitch, through YouTube, right? Like streamers itself playing the game. And streamers love social deduction video games. I mean, just Google Among Us, like plenty of reaction videos. It's super fun. And that's what gets the attention of the games out. So I kind of see a lot of content creators getting excited of Imposters in the future, and they're going to make tons of funny clips, really, and all these like popular streamers might try it out, and they have really, really funny like storylines where they play. And so I see this being just a straight up fun video game. And I just love how the characters are built. They're really goofy, really funny. I mean, all the aliens, Imposters, I don't know if you guys have checked it out yet, but the art style is really awesome as well. And on top of that, they're adding this whole new sandbox elements in the future. So there's going to be a lot of mini games, so I'm thinking something like a Mario Party right now. But right now, it's just the social deduction genre right now that we are focused on. And I'm rating it at the S tier just because of the whole gaming culture surrounding social deduction video game. It's not really explored about. But what people don't realize is that plenty of us has played social deduction video games in the past. There's plenty of this, like what was that game, like I don't know, Cops and Robbers, where you kind of sit in a circle and like everyone has to close their eyes, open your eyes if you're the killer. That was a social deduction video game. Clue was a social deduction video game. So it's not really that different. Like people have been playing this for generations, but only recently it's moved to the video gaming industry. So it was Among Us, and now this is the next tier of it. So that's why I'm so excited about it. Completely biased, but I'm going to let the game speak for itself. The closed beta is going to be out. I plan to create content on it. I know Ilio is going to create content on it. So we'll see where things go.
Cool. Well, yeah. I'm excited to give it a try. I've seen footage of it, obviously, and I've talked to Elio a little bit about it. But I'm gonna give it a try, so you guys will be able to see that video next week. So make sure you guys look for a little quick review of Imposters and some gameplay, and hopefully of me beating Elio at his own game. I mean, I've never played it. I don't know how to play. I've never stepped into it. I mean, it's his game, so I'm sure he has an advantage. But if I beat him, I am going to lord that over him for the rest of our lives. Just so you know, he's out here in LA too. And so it's one of those things where like you just have that a little bit of local bragging rights.
You have to.
All right, let's clean this bad boy up, man. Here, Nerdy Wan, thank you so much for hanging with us, man. Our last project here today, My Pet Hooligan.
Oh,
Let us know where you rank this. What do you think about this game? Do you know anything about My Pet Hooligan? Have you played it?
I do. I haven't personally played it, but I see plenty of gameplay of it. I watched it a lot. I follow its progress. I'm actually going to put this at S tier, actually.
S tier, going S. All right, wow.
Going to end it strong. Yeah, I think that My Pet Hooligan is doing some really, really innovative stuff in terms of gaming. So the vibe that I get, it's a combination of like GTA style video game combined with Ratchet and Clank, which is a game that I absolutely love. Yeah, it's really so same thing again.
Good way of describing.
Colorful characters, really funny. And like just the branding of the game is so interesting. And whenever I see the gameplay itself, it just looks really fun. Like you want to try it out,
It is.
You want to run around the game. All the weapons are really goofy. It's just kind of my kind of game. And on top of that, like I know there's some really, really talented things going on. Like I think that's this whole like facial animation, kind of tied with the actual players doing it. So I thought that was super, super cool. And I'm really excited about this project in terms of how they're actually developing. Again, things go into such a high tier for me when they're actually innovating and doing something really different, at least for right now. So I hope they continue innovating, and I really want to play the completed game to actually see how much I actually like the game.
Okay.
So yeah,
I'm right there with you, man. I would probably put My Pet Hooligan A, maybe S tier. I think they have a great game. I love the development team. I love the angle they're going with a lot of things. I would totally agree with you, man. I think that there's a lot of unique things about what they're doing and the type of game they're creating and the angle that they've worked. It has a uniqueness to it that we haven't really seen in gaming in general. And so I'm really excited to see what they do. So cool to see that you see the same things that I'm seeing in My Pet Hooligan.
And props to them. I love how they work with their community. That's really one of their top.
They engage so well.
In terms of all like the other projects, they do amazing working with the community, like they're including artworks into the game. They're making sure that they're partnering with people, letting people play test the game as they proceed. So really, really cool stuff. I love how they're building. I definitely need to actually, even get My Pet Hooligan. I don't think I even have one, but I'm keeping an eye on that. So really awesome. I just love it. Talking about video games over here and just seeing where things progress. Of course, this ranking can always change. Everything is going, we're so early right now, so I'm curious to see where these games are going to go in future.
I'm right there with you, man. A lot going on in the gaming industry, but thank you so much, Nerdy Wan, for being here with us, man. I had a really good time with you. I think that you had some great insight here, in particular with these games. You can tell that you're a gamer. You know what I'm saying? Like I could tell that you play games, man. Yeah, not everybody has been on this thing is as big of a gamer as they probably should be.
I'm a huge nerd. Okay. I'm freaking the Nerdy Wan. Come check out my channel.
I feel you. Yeah, I feel you, man. I feel you. So thanks for being here, man. And ranking everybody these games. We'll post up on Twitter for everybody to make some comments on. But you guys, if you're watching, make sure you go and check in the description below and go grab the link for Nerdy Wan's channel here. Go subscribe to him on YouTube. Go follow him on Twitter. He is part of our Web3 gaming fam now. That's it. He's in. You're in, buddy.
Fam. Dude, I saw you in NFT LA. I can't believe I'm speaking with you right now. This is awesome, man.
There we go, man. I mean, it's all about community, man. Like I'm not like some dude who's like at this top tier and I'm exclusive and like I'm just like the rest of you guys, man. I'm just a gamer. I just like playing video games, having fun, talking about cool technical, shit that is being incorporated into video games. And building community together with people who are like-minded, man, and that's what we do here in crypto. So
awesome, man. Hey, thank you so much for having me on. It was a lot of fun. Maybe we can do this another time in the future once all these games get a little more developed.
I love it, man. Well, once again, guys, thanks for being here. That's all we have for today. Secret Agent Stash, over and out.
Peace.
Secret Agent Stash. Secret Agent Stash, wearing new disguises on every gaming streams. Stash.